Hello, everyone, and welcome. As an AI expert in modern hospitality, it's my pleasure to welcome all of you from the Europe Hotel School to your online learning journey. Now, as you build your careers, you know our world is all about people. But behind every single great guest experience, there's a really powerful story being told by data. So today, we're going to dive into the metrics that really separate a hotel that's just busy from one that's truly successful. And this isn't just about numbers, you'll see. It's about understanding value.
So let's start with a big question. Think about a hotel lobby at check-in time. It's buzzing, right? The front desk team is in constant motion. But is all that activity actually creating real value? Is every guest interaction, every upgrade offer, truly making their stay better and boosting the hotel's revenue? Or is some of it, well, just noise? That's exactly what we need to figure out.
So, how do we cut through that fog of activity to get to what's real? The answer lies in the metrics. And look, I want you to stop thinking of these as just boring numbers on a spreadsheet. Instead, see them as a lens, a tool that helps us clearly see the impact of everything we do. They translate our day-to-day actions into clear, measurable patterns we can actually learn from. And this brings us to an absolutely crucial distinction. On one side, you've got your activity metrics. These just count how many times your team does something, like offering an upgrade. It measures effort, and that's it. But on the other side, you have value metrics. This is where the magic happens. This measures effectiveness, not how many offers were made, but how many were actually accepted. You see, this simple shift in focus is a total game changer. It moves your team from just being busy to being genuinely impactful.
Okay, let's start with a key value metric, the acceptance rate. A high acceptance rate is a fantastic signal. It tells you that your offers are relevant, they're hitting the mark with what guests actually need, and your team is doing a great job communicating that value. It's so much more than just a sale, it's proof that you've made a successful connection. And if the rate is low, that's not a failure. It's an opportunity to ask, okay, are we offering the right thing to the right person at exactly the right time?
Another huge indicator is the average transaction value. You know, when your team's recommendations genuinely make a guest stay better, this number just naturally goes up. It's a direct measurement of how well your extra services are fitting into the core experience. An increase here shows that guests see clear benefits, more comfort, more convenience, more enjoyment, and they're happy to invest in them.
Now, I know what you're thinking. A single upgrade. It might feel like a small win, right? But the real power of tracking these value metrics, well, it's revealed when we zoom out and see how all these little individual moments start to add up. The aggregation, the collection of these small wins, can have a massive impact on the bottom line. Let's just start with a simple number. Picture this, 30 euros. That's the extra revenue from just one guest saying yes to a room upgrade. By itself, it doesn't seem like much, does it?
But now, let's apply some scale. A decent-sized hotel might have 500 opportunities just like this in a single month. And boom, just like that, the math becomes incredibly compelling. Those small 30-euro wins, when you multiply them across 500 successful interactions, suddenly become an extra 15,000 euros in revenue. This is the hidden power of consistent, value-driven service. It's not about one huge sale, it's about doing the small things right again and again.
Okay, so once you understand this impact, you can start to get really strategic. Data helps us prioritize. You can pinpoint which behaviors have the biggest impact and zero in on the right opportunities. For instance, your data might show that guests celebrating an anniversary almost always say yes to a suite upgrade, while someone on a quick business trip almost never does. This kind of insight lets your team tailor their approach, making suggestions that feel personal and thoughtful, not just random.
But, and this is absolutely critical, we have to remember that these numbers are only part of the story. Metrics are tools to support your people, not just to judge their performance. The real goal is to move from looking at data to having a meaningful dialogue. This right here is the mindset you need to have as a leader. When you sit down to talk about metrics with your team, it should never, ever feel like a judgment. The data isn't the final word on performance, it's the starting point for a conversation about what's working, what isn't, and how you can all get better together. The real key is balance. You have to combine the hard data, the acceptance rates and transaction values, with the human side of things, the qualitative feedback you get from supportive coaching and just talking to people. A manager can give context that the numbers totally miss, and an employee can share what's really happening on the ground with guest interactions. When you blend those two, you get the complete picture.
And when you get this balance right, you're doing so much more than just improving performance. You start to build a real winning culture.
By using metrics thoughtfully, you create this amazing environment where people feel safe to be curious, to learn, and to actually grow as professionals.
What this does is it creates a really powerful but simple learning cycle. First, your team observes the results in their metrics. Then, they take a step back and reflect on the patterns. What's really driving success here? Third, they refine their approach. Maybe they just change how they phrase an offer. And finally, they test that new approach and evaluate the impact. It's a simple, repeatable loop for continuous improvement.
Ultimately, this is about so much more than just revenue. When an employee can actually see how their thoughtful recommendation or their daily interactions directly lead to the hotel's success, it gives them a much deeper sense of purpose. They get that they aren't just processing check-ins, they're actively shaping the guest experience and driving the entire business forward. And that connection is incredibly motivating.
So, I'll leave you with this thought. Data is fantastic at telling us what happened yesterday. It's like a report card on our past performance. But its true power, its real value, lies in how it can help us shape the future. The challenge for all of you, as the next generation of hospitality leaders, is to take that insight and use it to innovate, to refine, and to create truly unforgettable guest experiences tomorrow. Thank you.